Hello viewers, so today we are solving A-level mathematics. So under that we just look at roots. So when it comes to roots, there are properties that you need to know, which the first property is that alpha plus beta is equal to negative b over a. Then the second property is alpha beta, which is equal to c over a. Then the third property is alpha squared plus beta squared. This is equal to open alpha plus beta, then squared minus 2 alpha what? Beta. So these are the three common properties that you need to know. And today we'll be using these same properties to evaluate these roots that we have been given. So the question that we have says that the roots of the equation, the roots of the equation, this one, which is a quadratic equation, alpha and beta. Find the values of, we have our part 1, which says alpha squared plus beta squared. That's our part 1. So to answer this question, we have alpha squared plus beta squared. So basically, if you can see on our properties, sorry, we can see that on these our properties that we have here, alpha squared plus beta squared is actually our third property that we have here. So what we're going to do here is we'll just say that alpha squared plus beta squared here is equal to what? That our property, which is open brackets, then we have alpha plus beta, then squared minus 2 alpha what? Beta there. So now also remember that our quadratic equation is x squared plus what? 3x minus what? 18 equal to what? 0. So if you remember, we know the standard quadratic equation is in this form: ax squared plus bx plus what? A c. This is equal to what? A 0. So from this we can see that a is actually the coefficient of x squared, which is equal to 1 there. Then b is equal to positive 3. Then we have our c, which our constant, which is negative what? 18 there. So also use this information, we'll need it. So we know that from here now we can see that here, whatever, you can see that inside the brackets we have alpha plus what? Beta, which is our first property, this one. So inside here we have alpha plus beta. So when you look at this alpha plus beta, it's our first property that we have here. So this means that inside the brackets we'll substitute with negative what? B over what? A. So say negative b over what? A. Then we maintain the power, then minus 2, then times what? Alpha beta is this our second property, which is c over what? A. So also substitute here, we say c over what? A. Then from here now we can just now substitute with our variables that we have. So we say we have negative open, then b is what? 3, you substitute, then you say over a is 1, then we square here, then minus, this is 2 times what? C is negative 18 there, then a, what we have is 1 there. So now this one will give us so here we can see that we have negative times 3. This will give us negative 3. Then over 1 you still get just negative 3. Then we say to the power 2. Then minus. Then we say 2 times what? We'll multiply. We say this negative 2 times what? Negative 18. So this will give us positive 36 here. Then from here now, when we say negative 3 to the power 2, this will give us positive 9. Then plus what? 36, which will just give us what? 45. So when you add 9 plus 36, it should give you what? 45 there. So this one becomes the answer for our first part. Then now, moving to the second part now, let's answer now the second part. So maybe before I answer the second part, what I can just do is, let me do this. So the second part says, which is part 2, what we have to evaluate is that is 1 over t alpha plus 1 over t beta here. So here we need to find the common denominator, because remember, whenever you have a fraction, what you do, and we are adding these fractions that we have. So whenever you have a fraction, you find the common denominator. So here alpha beta becomes the common denominator. So now we can see that when we say alpha into whatever we have here as our denominator, we can see that alpha and alpha cancels, then we remain with the beta. So beta times 1, this will give us beta. Then we say plus, we'll do the same again, beta into whatever we have as our denominator here, meaning that beta and beta cancels, we remain with alpha here. So this alpha now times what? 1, what we're getting is alpha there. Now from here, now from the property, we know that beta plus alpha is the same as alpha plus beta, which is negative b over a. Then we say divide by, because this is now our main divisor. So we say divide by what? Alpha beta. We know alpha beta, that's c over what? A there. So now this will give us negative b over a. Then here we'll multiply. Then when we introduce a multiplication symbol, a will be on top, then c will be down. So you can see that a and a can cancel here. What we have is negative b over what? C. So negative b over c is equal to negative open. Then from here we can see that b is positive what? 3. Then c, if you can check, c is negative what? 18. So this will give us, we can see negative and negative cancels, we have 3 over what? 18. Then this will give us 3 into 3, we have a 1. Then 3 into 18, what we have is a 6 there. So our answer here becomes what? 1 over 6. Then now moving to part 3, what we have on part 3 is 1 over alpha squared, then plus 1 over what? Beta squared there. So again here what we have is a fraction. So what you do here, you find the common denominator, of which the common denominator to be alpha squared what? Beta squared. So again now you start dividing. You're going to say this alpha squared into the denominator. So you can see that this alpha squared will cancel with this alpha squared, you will remain with beta squared. So here we say beta squared times 1, it will give us beta squared. Then plus again here we'll do the same, we'll say beta squared into the denominator, and we can see that beta squared and beta squared cancels, we remain with what? Alpha squared here. So now we can see that if you remember, beta squared plus alpha squared, this is a property, and that was our first equation. And there what we found, if you remember, we found 45. So there is no need for us to substitute with the property, but if you want for confirmation, you can substitute. But we know that when we say alpha squared plus beta squared, the answer that we are getting is 45. So therefore we'll just substitute here. So say the answer for this is 45 over. So now the down part, since all these our roots, they have the power 2, so this means that those can be written as alpha beta, then we power 2 like this. So this means that now that will now give us what? Now 45 over, remember the property for alpha beta, inside the brackets what we have is alpha beta. So this means that this alpha beta is a property which is just what? C over A. So it's C over A. So what we'll do is we will say divide by c over what a here, then we'll say to the power 2. So now this now will give us 45, then we'll divide by what open, then what is our c? If you can check here, is negative 18. So we have negative 18 over, then what is our a? A is a 1 there. Okay, then you square that. That's what we do. Then now this will give us 45 divided by open brackets, then we have negative 18 over 1. This will give us negative 18, then to the power 2. Now this will give us 45, then we'll say divide by, then negative 18 squared means we are multiplying negative 18 times negative 18. So 8 times 8, this will give us 64. So write a 4, we'll keep a 6, then 8 times 1, it will give us 8. So now that 8 plus 6, it will give us 14. You write a 0, then 1 times 8, 8, 1 times 1, 1, then we add 4 there, then 8 plus 4, 12, you keep a 1, then 324 becomes the answer. So here 324. So we have 324 there. When we say negative 18 squared, we get a positive answer. So this will give us 45 over 324. Since we don't use a calculator, you can leave it there, or you can still try and simplify this one further. So you can still try and do that, but I feel you can just end there. Then moving to part 4. Part 4, what we have is alpha over what beta, then plus what beta over alpha. This is what we have. So to evaluate this one, what you do, you find the common denominator, and here our common denominator becomes alpha what beta. So you start dividing. You can see that beta will cancel with this beta, so you remain with alpha. Alpha times alpha, it will give us alpha squared, then plus, again you do the same, alpha and alpha cancels there, you have beta. Beta times beta, so that will give us beta squared. Remember, again, we know the property that alpha squared plus beta squared, we know the property, and we evaluated this one. So the answer that we found is 45. You substitute, then you say over what alpha beta. So when you have that, that can be written as 45 divided by alpha what beta. So it will be 45, then divide by alpha beta is c over what a. So we have 45, then you divide by, we will substitute, we check for c. So we can see that the value for c is negative 18 there. So the value for c is negative 18 over the value for a, which is if I check, that's a 1. So we just have 45, then times 1 over negative what 18, we swap there, so that will give us 45 over negative what 18. So that becomes our answer. So if you want, you can also try to look for a number that can enter into 45 and negative 8. So we can use a 3 into 4, that will give us a 1, then remainder 1, so 3 into 15, that's a 5 over negative what, then again here 3 into 18, what we get is a 6. Again we can use a 3, so I have negative 3 into 15, that's a 5 over 2. So here our answer becomes negative 5 over 2. Then our last part, we have to evaluate, that is alpha squared beta plus, that is alpha what beta squared. So here what we do is you can see that alpha beta is common, so therefore we'll factor out alpha what beta, because alpha beta is common here. So when you factor out alpha beta, you can see that beta and beta cancels here, then alpha will cancel with one alpha, meaning that you remain with just alpha. Plus again, you do the same, it will be alpha and alpha cancels, beta and one beta cancels there, then we remain with the one beta. So remember, alpha beta is the property which is C over A. Then we multiply this by alpha plus beta. The property for this is negative B over A, if you remember. Then you substitute what is C. C is negative 18. Then A is 1, if you remember. Then negative open. Then what is our B? So let's check for B. So here we can see that our B is positive 3. So we'll substitute here. We'll say this is positive 3 over what is our A. So we can see that for A is 1. So A is 1. So now from here we can see that negative 1 over 1. This, negative 18 over 1. This will give us negative 18. Then times negative 3 over 1. This will give us negative what? 3. So multiply, we'll say what is 18 times 3. So 3 times 8, that's a 24. Write a 4, keep a 2. Then 3 times 1 to give us a 1 plus 2. That will give us 54. So the answer here becomes positive what? 54. And we've come to the end of the session. Thank you so much for your time.